She dumped her best friend over this. Was it justified? My husband took my friend's husband out for a guy's night, and this friend was caught, cash in hand, stealing from my husband's wallet. This is not the first time, but it is the first time there was such evidence. With no evidence previously, I talked my husband down saying it had to be a mistake, and now I feel bad for those times. We both wanted to believe these perfect friends would never. Because my husband was under the influence that night, he told his friend that he wouldn't tell his wife, and they continued the evening, slightly irritated but still doing their thing. I don't agree with that. At this point, he is certain that $1,200 has been taken over time. Now that I don't want to risk this type of behavior in my home, around my kids, I think I need to tell her what happened and cut ties. I just don't know how, and I don't want to do anything emotionally charged. For now, I'm on a road trip to visit all sorts of family and, truthfully, avoid confrontation. Help. Update. Good day, THD fam. Can't seem to link the OG post, but I am back with an update and story that doesn't feel like it belongs in my 30s. Also, no short story today. For easier writing, we're gonna go ahead and name everyone this time. Myself, 31F, and my husband Josh, 34M, relocated across the country just about a year ago with our two littles. We bought a beautiful home in a nice little tight-knit neighborhood, right next door to Sarah, 36F, and her husband Jacob, 36M, with their two kids. Serendipitously, each of our older kids are the same age, and each of our younger ones are just under a year apart. Now, since we've gotten close, we have shared family-style dinners, games nights, movie nights. We've taken them to the casino, they showed us some local parks and fairs, and everyone in both families has a best friend. In my original post, I had shared this friend was considered a fast friend to me. I was under the impression that a fast friend is a common phrase. Like kids who meet at the playground and can just play and understand each other like they've always known each other. This is how I considered this friend, my short-time best friend, a fast friend. Josh works hard to support our family and enjoys the casino. He has brought Jacob to the casino probably every month for the last 5 to 6 months. Just a few weeks ago now we were all going to go, or that was Josh's hope. He got a huge suite from a host with food comps and extra gift cards for BS around the resort, and the whole thing would not have cost a dime. So he invited our neighbors, before really checking with me. Ultimately, I did not want to go for fear of risking injury to my oldest, who has recently suffered from a concussion. At home, we've had no screen time, no climbing, no jumping, no strenuous activity, no wrestling, and my job has been telling these poor kids no, no, no until it doesn't mean anything. We haven't really even spent time with the neighbors because it's exhausting to keep an eye on all of them for sake of my oldest. In a casino with iPad parents, there would be no avoiding this, and I would just be stuck in a room trying not to scream from insanity. Same for my kids. When I told this to Josh, he revised his invite. He was still going. He was not going to pass up the big, beautiful suite. Jacob was welcome to join him, but if the whole family was coming, Josh would rather that Jacob get them their own room. The start of my irritation with the neighbors. They called him, texted him, begged him for days before. Talk to your wife. Make her change her mind. You've got to get her to go. Jacob was so worried that Sarah wouldn't let him go if she couldn't go, and she was only going if she got to use the big, beautiful suite. Jacob got a promotion to stay in a standard suite, which would have been very comfortable and still not cost them a thing, since Josh was willing to still use his other comps with all of them, but this was not enough. Josh filled me in every step of the way, continued to tell them that I didn't feel comfortable because of the kids, and left it at that. The morning both husbands left, Josh got a text from Sarah saying she didn't realize she'd have to spend that time stuck in the room alone with the kids, so she was staying behind and to have fun. If you know Sarah, you read that have fun with a sneer. Josh called me and was floored at her entitlement. When I've gone with my kids to a casino, we get to use the pool. Sometimes there's a golf course. This specific casino has an arcade, and then I plan ahead to spend the time relaxing in a hotel room with my kids. So much of the draw of any casino is for adults, and that's just that. So I will bring at home spa care, nail polish, coloring books, games, and usually we'll have a movie marathon with room service and robes. Even in a standard room, no suite needed. Later in the day, my kids and I decide to go for a walk. Her kids are outside dancing on their driveway, so my kids rush on over. There we all are now, elephant in the room, she's mad at me, and I am getting the cold shoulder. Now I'm floored. If the shoe was on the other foot, if anything ever came in the way of pre-made plans or even spur-of-the-moment plans, I never made her feel bad for it. And this is my kid lady. Ick. So, anyways, later that night after the kids are asleep, I get a text from Josh that just says, "Jacob just tried to steal money from me. I caught him with $200 from my wallet." This is so disappointing. All I saw was red. I had stood up for this ass hat in the past. Josh had suspected when Jacob drove home at a weird hour, hammered, and he was so certain there was $500 missing from his wallet. But I couldn't see that being the case. This wasn't the sort of person Jacob was. On a different occasion with a different scenario, $500 again. Still, no way, he's got to be mistaken, right? Sadly, Josh dropped it for the sake of the kids and our friendships. Now I was certain of these previous thefts too, and I couldn't stand the thought of keeping these entitled people in our lives. Come to find out, Josh was willing to give it another go. He was drunk enough that he calmly told Jacob that this isn't right, he expects more from him, and that they would get past this, but it would take time for Josh to fully trust him again. Then he told him not to go. Throughout the night, Josh began to regret this choice more and more. Jacob almost immediately asked for money, to which Josh said, "Are you fucking serious?" It just continued downhill from there. When we spoke the next day, we probably riled each other up, sure, but without the rose-colored friend glasses, I couldn't stand them. I could see the one-sided contributions, I could see the one-way conversations, I could see the exhausting drama that had nothing to do with us. So instead of handling it, I drove away. I packed up the kids, some camping gear, and I drove cross-country to visit family. Josh works long hours, and unless planned, he never really sees anyone but us, so he just did his usual thing in a quiet house. I overthought the conversation that needed to be had. I had nightmares of her reaction to the news, and I decided I needed to send a text before I even started my way home. So I did. I took emotions out of it. I gave her the facts of what happened between Josh and Jacob, and I let her know that we couldn't be their friends any longer. She took about 2.5 hours to reply in a group chat with me and Josh. She gave us a bunch of manipulation, in my opinion. She repeated that she's destroyed, that she's blindsided, that she is sobbing and throwing up with how hurt she is by all of this. She thanked Josh for taking the high road, and when I spoke with Josh, we decided I would respond. Since I didn't have service that night, I sent a text about 2 days later and continued to keep the emotion out of it. I let her know that what she had to say felt like it should have been said to her husband, that she didn't understand how this wasn't the first time. I let her know that her husband walked all over Josh and used him, and that due to a lack of communication from Jacob since then, it proves to us that he didn't care to just let us walk away and keep her in the blind. Now she spirals. Now I can just hear her screaming from states away. The only point I know she's probably right to make is that this does not belong in text, but could you blame me? Her other points being, she is trying to apologize. Jacob is mortified. Jacob couldn't even steal from a store, so they're destroyed that he could ever think to do this. He doesn't remember doing anything more than this. Shortly followed by, this is between Josh and Jacob, and not to text her any further. When I've sent 2 texts, the OG one and the follow-up one. She's sent several. Josh says, "You got it." And she spirals again. Now it's my fault. I should have never gotten involved. Josh and Jacob should have handled this between themselves. I shouldn't be speaking for Josh, and I am making her the villain. I made this so bad by doing this all through text, and then Josh stands up for me. He lets her know that I did what was right to let her know why we would no longer be friends, and that things would be between Jacob and himself going forward, since that's what she asked for. Spiral number 3. First, she takes that as a slight at her, saying she's not in charge here, and then she brings up a situation involving the kids where she proceeds to blame mine for a situation and then insists that she's never made me feel bad about said situation. She victim blamed my child. I saw her fall off the face of the earth at that point. Do not talk to me, do not talk to my kids, and do not come on my property. You do not fix this, you ignorant fuck. The next morning I get the last of the texts starting with, "I respect your decision, but," and a bunch of the same bullshit after that. In the end, am I the asshole? Could this have gone another way? Did I overreact? I originally posted for advice as of how best to break up with this friend, but now I am indifferent to her snotty, pinched bitch face. Hope you made it through my novel. Any writing tips welcome.